everybody to our demo of Yamdu. So maybe first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Florian, I'm CEO of Yamdu. We had this idea of Yamdu several years ago when during different productions we had the problems that maybe here you send an email, then you have some stuff sent by WeTransfer, then Dropbox, then WhatsApp, whatever. So there really was not one spot in the cloud to manage your entire production. And that's what Yamdu is supposed to be. So one central spot in the cloud for your projects, for your crew, for all stages of media production, from development, pre-production, production, and post-production. So when you create projects in Yamdu and you do have register your company and an account, you will first have this overview, like this high-level overview of all the projects that you have access to. So of course, if you invite other users as a director, costume designer, whatever, they will only see those projects, have only access to those projects that they got invited to. You also have this like cockpit situation if there are projects with conflicts or pending tasks, so you know task is pending, so we are fine. But here, of course, you get early warnings if something, a task needs to be done or even overdue. In this high-level area, you also have like a high-level calendar, which shows all the events of all your project calendars. And of course, if that gets too crowded over time, you can filter by projects, what you want to show or not have shown, and also by your calendar categories. If you're just interested in pre-production or scheduling or whatever, you can filter here and it will be shown in the high-level calendar. Of course, as a company admin, that's very special to those people that are company admins. You can also, to some extent, manage your company staff. So you can add employees and staff members. You can also create new company administrators who are then also be able to create projects to, renew the subscription or change the subscription, or add employees. So if you have the same people working with you all the time, you just add them here, maybe with their most default positions. Should they be added to all existing projects, or then later on you will ask automatically if they should be part of every new project. For example, if you have in-house producers, editors, whatever, this might be quite convenient actually. This also means, that's why I wanted to show it to you, that when you use Yamdu and you create projects, you create databases for your company. Like, for example, in the address book, all the crew information and all the agencies and everything that can be reused in all your projects over and over again. Also the filming location and the actors, and by a new update by the end of the month, even props, vehicles, costumes. So that's really, the more you do within Yamdu, the more you save time and redundant work, and you can go on with this. You can also set up project templates. If you say that's my social media production template, just go for it, set it up one time, and then reuse it over and over again. And here, for example, of course, you can also download as a company admin your entire project every time you like as a local backup, and also access in Explorer and Finder all the data in the same structure as you do in Yamdu. But let's get started with project. So I go back to the project overview, and I have prepared this demo project. So I just click on it, and now I'm within one specific Yamdu project. So what you see here is the customized view for, of course, this demo project. Here it's a feature film in this example, and me as a user, Florian. So here I'm an admin and I'm a producer, so I see a lot of things, which is maybe in the beginning somewhat overwhelming, but don't worry, we go through it step by step. And it also means that, of course, maybe a director, a costume designer, catering person only has access and only sees what is important to him or her. So of course, other users might have a lot more of a condensed view. You have like announcements, which is just important messages of the communication. You have this traffic light system of what's going on and the different features you can see over here. You can mark everything within Yamdu, like you used, for example, by eBay, so you can follow things. Did we finally find a location for that set or an actor for this character? So you can mark everything and get immediate push notifications if something changes here. And you have like this project stream, what people were writing, commenting, uploading with quick access for the same. Just for the start, you can, of course, customize your projects when you create them or also later on. So if you say in this production, we don't have costume or makeup and hair or locations or whatever, just undo them and they will be removed and can be activated later on. You can add some basic information, which can be reused in your exports of PDFs, especially here, the PDF header designer, which has some default settings according to your account, but you can customize it project per project, and it will be the exported header for your PDFs of shooting schedule, production schedule, whatever. You can also set up watermarking. So here I have activated watermarking for the development room. I will show you in a minute what that means, but of course, it means PDFs are watermarked then in those areas. We will see it in a couple of minutes. So that's all for here. I also want to show you the user settings. So you as a Yamdu user and your users you invite have an active Yamdu account, and they have to register once free of charge, and they have to add some information, but there's a lot of optional information like skills to education, if they're halal, kosher, vegan, vegetarian, allergic to peanuts, whatever. But all this information of course only gets distributed to certain people like the caterer, like the unit production manager, so it's not always accessible to all other crew members. Here you can also set up your language formats. Let's keep it here for the United States in English, but you could even, you know, as a user change it to Chinese, so it's available in more than 8 languages by now. But more important, if you use Yamdu in the beginning, you might get annoyed by too many emails. That's just to make sure that you really get the information. Here you can specifically say, okay, I do not want to have any notifications for marked objects in Beyond, or no notifications at all for this project. Or you can say, okay, I want tasks as a push notification into the mobile app, but not as an email. Only announcements and call sheets, we say, are so important that you cannot undo it. They will always be pushed through as an email attachment to all users. But here you can customize and specify how Yamdu is supposed to communicate with you. And of course, you always have to save for those changes. So let's come to the features that Yamdu offer. Basically, Yamdu offers almost everything except budgeting. That's why we have the wonderful cooperation with Showbiz Budgeting. I will show you in a couple of minutes where that comes into the game. But we are offering a lot of tools, so you can, I hope, get rid of other tools like Dropbox, Excel, and whatever you're using, and just use Yamdu as one hub for your productions. So first of all, of course, you want to add crew members. So every time you want to add something or create something new, it's very simple. It's always the plus icon. As crew members, you can differentiate between active Yamdu users who then get an invitation link and, you know, can actually be part of your project, or if it's just an external contact like the insurance company or rental house or whatever. So that's what we distinguish here. So in this case, let's say we want to add active Yamdu users who participate in our projects. You simply need an email address. You need the first name. You need the last name. You can write a little message. Hey, welcome to my project. Please register, whatever. You can already add users to certain units, like first unit, Mexico unit, second unit, whatever, or skip this and do it later on, or don't use it at all. And that's very special to Yamdu. You can pick from hundreds of default positions that this user might have. So let's say that's a creative producer, and Yamdu will already show you the default access rights that this user probably might have, so you don't have to do it from scratch. But if you say, okay, this user actually should be able to see the financing area, or actually to be added be able to edit the financing area. You can do this before you invite. Of course, you can also change it later on. You can also combine different, so maybe he's a co-producer, maybe he's also an admin. So that means you as you have created a project, you are the first admin of a project, but of course there can be more administrators to a project, so you basically don't have all the admin work on your side. You can add other people as well. Of course, then they gain the maximum amount of rights they have here. So in this case, it will be all. You can also say this should be displayed differently because I don't call him creative producer, just producer one or in-house producer, just write it here, and that's how it will be shown in the crew list. Here you can also see where the Yamdu database comes into the game, because you can invite users from other projects. You can also search, for example, I only need my first assistant directors, and just add them, and then all the information is already added here. You just click on invite, and then this person will be added to your project. So I click on abort because I don't want to add here a new user. If you switch from, again, back to the crew list, you will see that's your digital crew list, which is always up to date. So we have a lot of customers where also the crew appreciates it, that they don't have any printouts of the crew. They can access it in real time in the mobile app or online, and always, of course, have the most current information of those crew members, and their information can be used globally in all projects. If you want to change the sorting, this might be very important to you, especially if one producer comes off the other. You can also customize all this and print it to PDFs and Excel exports and do whatever you like here. And of course, you can change the access rights as well, because this is something which is very, very different from something like Dropbox. Here you see this icon is like the big file sharing, files and documents section. Those icons correspond with all the features in the navigation bar. So here, if I click on this office section for the big file sharing, which is not linked to a specific feature, let's say Peter is not supposed to see the research, so you could just lock it, or he's only able to see it or able to edit it. So you can very much in detail say who's able to see what, or here it also means that Peter would actually be able to see like information of actors and extras, but not to eating habits or allergies of the crew members. When it comes to communication, you can also create user groups, like you might know it from WhatsApp. So there are groups for each department created automatically, but you can create your own, like the test or a creative group or whatever, and add people, crew members to this group and speed up communication. And you say that's maybe Nathalie, Laura, and Bob. And if you just add or tag these groups in communication or tasks or announcements, automatically those are part of the communication. This leads us already to the first communication tool of Yamdu. That's the tasking. So you can create tasks for crew members or for yourself, for your own to-do list. It's always plus, title, describe. You can add groups, as I just shown to you, so maybe our test group, or of course you can also add individual crew members, and then this task is assigned to you. You have a follow-up if it's done or not. You can comment about the process, tell it if it has a deadline, link it to a section. Maybe they have to do a shop list, so it can be linked to breakdowns and shops, or maybe to files and documents, and they basically have to review the budget or anything. So people know, okay, here I just have to click on here and I'm already in the right spot within Yamdu. Of course, tasks can always also be part of the calendars, and you have this follow-up of completed tasks, my department tasks, and so forth. The next communication spot is the announcement tool. So you can also create announcements as a quick communication feature. So let's say maybe we have already sent call sheet, but tomorrow we have to move half an hour later because of reason whatever. So you can of course create a new call sheet, or you just title message to all. and just click on create, and it's get pushed through to everybody, and they know, oh, there's an alert, something is happening, something is changing, and it's a very, very fast way to communicate, or even in the beginning to welcome your crew or to thank them on the last day of shooting. There is a calendar tool integrated in Yamdu, which got very, very powerful over the last year, because more and more customers are then only creating events in the master calendar of Yamdu and a project. Here again, if you want to set up and create an event, it's just a plus, description, location, maybe a meeting room or office or whatever. Participants are active participants, either by groups or by users. And you can also tell the software to whom it should be visible for, like everybody per default, or only the production department should see it or whatever. Then you can create your own calendar categories that you can filter with later on. Let's say that's a review of something of the script. You can also suggest several dates, so you might know it from Doodle, so you can ask the participants what would be the best date, and they get a call to action and have to make a decision. If it's an all day, start, end, so basically very easy to understand, I guess. You can also filter for here. So let's say in this we also have like off periods of actors, or as soon as you create a shooting schedule or a production schedule, they will automatically be part of your calendar, but you can also undo those categories, of course, if this is getting too overwhelming. And of course, you can also subscribe to the calendar. So that's how many customers do it. They just create here in a Yamdu master calendar all the events, and all the crew members can subscribe to it for Google Calendar, for your iPhone, for whatever tool you prefer. So I already mentioned like the production scheduling. So here we have a tool which is the first tool where we can create scenarios, planning scenarios. So here we have a first production schedule. Of course, we could create another scenario by hitting plus. You see here, you can rename it, duplicate it, and play around, download as a PDF. And here's a little star icon. That's very important because it will come to you over and over again. Star always means that's the active object within Yamdu. So that's now the crew knows, and also the software knows, that's the active production schedule. It's the same for the shooting schedule, or if you cast a character, a role. So let's have a look at our active production schedule. It's very simple here because I just prepared it a couple of hours ago. But again, you can create production events. You can choose from default templates if you like. So let's say you have like the rough cut or whatever you want to add. You can set up start and date, or you say, okay, calculate it based upon possible start and end, and maybe we have in the budget only 5 days. You create it, and Yamdu will automatically put it on the first possible spot that Yamdu thinks it would be possible. Of course, here it's between shooting and sound design. You don't have to use the templates. Of course, you can also create events by your own, and you can also have a look at a production calendar in a Gantt chart view, and move around things. And even if it's getting more and more complicated, you can see what areas you want to show and not to show. You can also download it as a PDF, and then of course it's always a matter of how to print it on several pages. But it's everything basically, every scenario you have is you're able to create and export a PDF. And here you see we've had a look at the PDF header before of our project, and of course it's added to all the PDF exports here in this case of the production schedule. And you can also subscribe to a production calendar as well. The next one over here is what I mentioned before, is the big file sharing area. So it's basically like binders, folders, you can call it whatever. We have chosen the name room and say that's the default rooms you have, like development, budget, and so forth. You can also create your own rooms. And that's just because there can also be some warnings or additional information. So if you click on the room development, that's obviously where everything should be like in the structure when regarding the development of a script or of a project. Here you can create objects, which is also like a container, binder, folder. We just call it object. And of course, there are some default objects. It's also important that you already see the access rights. So if you're an admin and you think, oh, there's something wrong, you can just click in every area and say, okay, Casper should also be able to at least view this area, and you can add them right here. So that means it's very transparent who has what access to what. So now Casper is also able to read this area. And let's click on script. So that's the object where everything that is related to the script should take place. And there again, of course, you have those access rights. You can have, shown to you who has seen what version. So I've seen, of course, the most current one, but maybe Peter has seen a version 8 months ago. You can also pin it to your dashboard. Here, the script is already pinned and marked to your dashboard. We've seen this before in the overview. But of course, it's also to use this as the file sharing. So here we have our Love at Sunset script as a PDF, Celtics, and final draft file. So let's say we want to upload a new version of the script. So here we have final draft. It's just drag and drop, and we drag and drop it, in this case, on this file. And Yamdu asks me if it's just a new version of the Love at Sunset final draft file, and I say yes. And you see now it will be updated, but it's only the most current version will occur. So if I click on this, on the final draft file, I will also have access to older versions of that file, but only the most current version, of course, can be seen by the crew. So sorry, I have just to refresh the browser. Okay, here we are back again. So you see the most current version now, because I updated it, just went up, and it was today the upload by this version. Of course, if you have a PDF, it will be shown as a preview of the PDF in your browser. And as I have activated the watermarking, my name will automatically print it into the PDF. It also means, for example, as you can send all kinds of files to any email address you add here, or maybe to another Yamdu user or an external contact, you can just add a little message, attach it as a file to the email, or send it as a download link. But if I do so and all the watermarking is active, it will say in the watermarking of that PDF, Peter Berthold, created by Florian Weidman. So if that is activated, you always have a tracking who has sent to whom, who has seen what file, because it will always be printed in by the user who is actively using it. By the way, if you send emails from within Yamdu, so you don't have to download stuff and then have an own email attachment or upload it to retransfer something, you can send it right from within Yamdu. You always have this sort of tracking to whom it has been sent in the detail area, and it would also be sent by your own email address. So it's not a no reply at yamdu.com address. So for example, a client knows, okay, that's really came from Florian or Peter or whoever. It's the same, by the way, with call sheets. So call sheets are not sent by no reply at yamdu.com, but by your own email address. And here you see you have access to all the versions, who has sent the link. I didn't click on send, so I don't have this tracking here. And you have access to all this. You can also download individual watermark PDFs if you like. So that means not only all the files, but also the communication should take place right in spot where it's supposed to be. So you can comment everything within Yamdu. That means, for example, I can just write here test or hello, and everybody who has access to this can see it, and I have a follow-up who has seen it, and it's like a history of all the stuff. I can also tag using the add character and say, okay, that's for Natalie or a line producer. Please upload a script or a page break per scene or whatever, or check it with the budget or whatever. And now she's like in WhatsApp or like Facebook, she's tagged directly. She gets a push message in the app and also per email if that's activated. And she knows, okay, Florian was actually talking to me, and I need to respond here. But it means you have this kind of history of everything that's going on right in Spot in a perfect structure. And of course, if you click on here, you can select several files, send them to a customer or partner, delete them, download. So there are just several options to play around with or to change the view of such a file overview. So that's basically always the same for all those rooms except the contracts. If you want to use Yamdu for your contract management, Yamdu says, okay, as soon as there is a crew member, you can also do the contract management here for Bob. Obviously, a contract has been created already. So let's hope like a line producer, unit production manager, yes, has also uploaded a contractual document because the contract was signed. So that's like a follow-up. And here's also $500 a day as a note when you negotiate with an agency, with a crew member, actor. And here again, only a few people are actually able to see this area. But you have like one profile of this crew member where with one click you can have access to everything you're actually allowed to have access to. Then there are more specific tools, like for example the financing. You can create different financing scenarios. That's pretty much the same all the time with clicking the plus and adding new partners. If you create financing partners in financing plans, of course there are also objects in the file sharing section, and you can link different information like their address information, different contact persons, of course also the contracts and even the deliverables. So here we have already, somebody has obviously added a feature film deliverable where, you know, soundtracks, what should be where. That's too much in detail, I guess, for this demo, but it only shows if you want to use it, you can really have a follow-up and tracking till the very end when you begin having contracts with your financing partners. So let's come to the fun part to really get content into Yamdu. So here I have activated working in our breakdowns and shots section with scenes and shots. You can also work with shots only if you like. You can add new scenes or shots by clicking on plus, or you can import a script. So we have some people here that work with scripted content. You can import from Final Draft, Celtics, Fountain, and all PDF files that are written in Hollywood Standard. You can select them from your local storage, or here, we've seen it before, I have uploaded a new Final Draft version of my script, Love at Sunset. So I click on it, and Yamdu is analyzing the file and sees, okay, we have 6 new scenes. Yeah, obviously there were no scenes here before. 5 new sets, okay, and 4 characters, but no new characters because I've already done some casting in here. I will show you later on. So we already do have some information. If you think something is wrong, there is a linking and merging tool, so you can like correct scene per scene and see if something has been wrong in the scanning. But here, let's say that's fine, and we click on save, and of course all the scenes and all the information are created immediately. And we could also have access now to our scenes, which is basically our breakdown. So let's click on scene number 1. And that's now the view of the big master breakdown. So all the different department members do have access to their area. Only here I'm a producer and admin, so I could also edit like costumes and makeup, but usually, of course, a costume designer would only have access to the costume area, but also be able to see the information of other departments. You can add things here. You can also use the script tagging tool. So let's say maybe there is some old map, so you just mark it. In this case, it should be prop, and it should be a new prop, and you just add it, and now it's added as a new prop. And of course, all the production design people have access to it in the production design tool later on. You can do this page by page, script by script. And here you see it's added as a prop. So again, here the idea is that you discuss about things, that you add things right in Spot where they are supposed to be, and later on they can be used for further working for the different departments here. So let's go to casting just as one example of how those specific department features work. So you see, I already have created the characters before, and of course now they're also added to scenes, as I have imported a script with the same character names, but no character has been assigned so far to an actor, or no actor or actress to a character. So let's go for Farah with ID number 1. I have several suggestions here. I also will be able not to collect any suggestions if you already know who's playing what part, or if it's just extras or whatever. If you want to add new extra suggestions, you can create new characters just by typing and say, okay, Mr. Test or Miss Test is added. You can add actors and actresses from your project database, and of course also from the giant database from all your other Yamdu projects, and they are just then imported with all the information like sizes, measurements, whatever agency information that Yamdu already knows. So in this case, let's say we have chosen maybe Jasmine to fix her as a cast. So we just click on the star, you've seen it before, and now she will play the part of Farah. Which means that other departments to whom it might be important will also get this information immediately. So we have like Farah, ID number 1, Yasmin, and if they click on it, of course they get all the scenes that this character is in. Maybe they have created already some character costumes. They have day out of days in here if there already is a shooting schedule, and of course they can also access the actress and all the information that they are able to see. So let's say in my case, I'm a costume designer, and maybe there is some, breast size, bra size, whatever already added to this character, maybe out from the database, so I can access it, or appearance and skills. So that's all things that, of course, you can keep in your ongoing projects as an information, or just a mobile phone number. So whatever you like and what is important of periods, everything is linked to such an object, in this case to the actress, linked to the role of Farah, linked to the scenes, linked to the shooting schedule, to avoid a lot of redundant work and can reuse this information. So let's say it's very sad, but she got way too expensive for our purpose. Then of course we can redo the casting for the role of Farah. So we unfix her. And we say maybe Stephanie is the next one, and fix her as a cast, because we still have her in our database from our pre-production and casting. And if we switch to another, you see for the costume design department says the cast has changed. So they actually get a warning, and now of course they have access to our new actress and all the information. So that's basically the same for all the department-specific features, makeup and hair, locations, production design, visual effects. So everything, they can work in their own space, and then it pays off into the big master breakdowns. And it's all, of course, also based not only about the script import and the scenes, but also based upon the shooting schedule. So we can import shooting schedules from FuzzleCheck or from Movie Magic Scheduling 6, or of course create new schedulings and drafts in here. And you can see, okay, we have here, we want to edit this, and if we want to add scenes to a shooting day, we can start at this day, we can add travel days maybe before. It's all drag and drop. Let's just test this information. If we hit the control key, we can also select several scenes and just move them around here and actually create a shooting schedule. If we have off periods for locations or for props or for actors, of course, there also will be a conflict or warning. We can have access to all the detailed information, also edit, breakdown information right within the scenes. If we have activated the episodic add-on of Yamdu, of course, you can do it for different episodes, different shooting blocks, whatever you like. It's always important for those scenarios to click on save, so it's actually saved on the Yamdu server, and then it can be reused for other tools like the day out of days we've just seen, or of course also for the call sheet tool in Call Sheet Designer. So we can create a call sheet from scratch, or in this case, so if you don't have a shooting schedule or you don't have scripted content, you can just go right to the call sheet tool and create a call sheet from scratch. But in this case, as we do have a shooting day or shooting tele, we can actually also use it within our shooting schedule, but it's not shown here. And that's very, very important in Yamdu, that you can drafts by your own. So you see only my department can see this. So then you can work on your own in your little kingdom. Then you can publish it so everybody else who is able to see it can actually have a look at it or comment it. And the star again means, okay, that's now an active shooting schedule scenario. So now I should be able to use this active shooting schedule as a base of my call sheet, and I click next. I can say if it's for certain units. In this case, I don't want to choose a unit. If it's just a scouting day, rehearsal day, of course here we want to choose a shooting day. And all the information that Yamdu already knows for that day of shooting is already part. So we have Stephanie and her agency already part as recipients, if you like. We have all the basic information, all the other characters. So for example, if you want to edit the times for Stephanie, we say maybe she doesn't have a rehearsal, or change everything in here. You can do it directly in the call sheet. You can move around things if you think the design does not fit what you like. It's just drag and drop. And of course, you only have to do it once in a project. You can also then reuse it for different project templates, or of course, for the other shooting days, whatever you set up here is then reused automatically for the next day and just needs to be customized. For example, the recipient list, its entire groups, members of your Yamdu project, or of course, you can also type every sort of email address as you like, and add individual members just to a certain crew list just by adding the email address. Again, it's sent by your own email address, not by a no reply at Yamdu email address. You can also create different new items in here. Let's say we want to add the crew list or want to have a page break. Maybe we do not want to show the delegates producer's number. So there's a lot of things to customize in here. You only have to do it once and then you can reuse it. You can also add attachments, also PDFs, which are then merged to the main PDF of the call sheet, or JPEGs or whatever of the navigation, or some certain security measurements, whatever you want, you can add and then save on the server, and you will ask by Yamdu if it's already ready to send and final, and if you want to send it as an email and of course as a push to the apps, or if you want to wait and it's first a draft and you want to play around some more. So that's basically all the features that Yamdu actually offer. As I said before, you can do the shooting scheduling here within Yamdu. Also, if you have imported it, if you have an active shooting schedule, you can download the file for Showbiz budgeting as an exchange file, and then have the basic information to be reused in your Showbiz budget software. Last but not least, we also have an add-on called ARI WebGate, which is just the video content software, which is integrated. So, for example, if you want to manage your dailies with Yamdu, we can recommend this software. So you have access to the ARI WebGate player. So that's here what I'm showing to you, a TV movie, a real project that I'm allowed to show things. It's quite a few terabytes of data, so it just needs a few seconds to load. But basically, you can upload files, proxy files, whatever from all. You don't need to shoot on an ARRI camera. It can be a Red or Sony or whatever, and it can be converted automatically on the ARRI servers for whatever you prefer, for mobile versions to look dailies at, or to have watermarking imprinted, or to send it to your customers as editorials, or to have your crew just access it for continuity purposes. And you see all the entire clip rendered here in the ARRI player, and you just click on play and have a look at it. Just mute it here. You can zoom in, zoom out while you're watching it. You can comment also, like you can comment everything within Yamdu. You can comment entire clips or certain frames if you want to share something with visual effects or with the editing suite. So you can basically do all kinds of stuff here with our WebGate. It's very powerful and it's available as an add-on. Okay, that's basically it, to have an overview in 45 minutes, I was told. And of course, maybe the last thing which might be interesting is the pricing. It starts here in US prices with $5 per project, $9 per students, $49 with full unlimited users for your projects. And of course, you also have like plans per company, which starts at $169 with already unlimited projects, unlimited users, and goes up to different larger packages regarding the storage. So it's really, I guess, a lot of features and no worries about projects and users. So you don't have to calculate anything. I guess it's very easy to understand the pricing. So if you have any questions, of course, I'm very happy to answer your questions.